The weekend is nearly over. That was Fright Fest 2010.
Here we are at the fifth and final day of Film for Fright Fest. Today we take a look at The Dead, Red, White and Blue, and also The Last Exorcism, produced by Eli Roth. But first, let's take a look at Jake West's Video Nasties.
How many of you say your video nasty? Put your hands up. Great. So this audience is morally depraved and corrupt, as I suspected.
I guess I'm honored to be a part of this controversy. I feel like the nastiest bastard up here.
I've got a student working at the moment in detail on the history of the BBFC's guidelines. Watch them very closely, because I think we are going to see more aberrant judgments based on a new generation Mary Whitehouse.
I would argue that we very much examine the work and examine the context in which something occurs, rather than that. So I would dispute that. Then you would say, I would say that, wouldn't I?
You very presciently put in a little mention of a Serbian film into this documentary.
I'm sure if Serbian film was on at the London Film Festival, Westminster Council would have stepped up and let them show it, but because it's a Fright Fest, I don't think they would care, and I think that's the problem. I was hoping to see it here uncut at Fright Fest because I'm an adult and I believe that I should be allowed to watch film.
You should be able to see what you want to see and decide whether or not you want to see it. I'm not big on censorship.
Censorship is pretty pointless now because, you know, if you can't see the Serbian film on screen here, we all know how we can download it, I'm sure. So it's pretty much.
Briefly, in the 1980s, we had a small period where we were, as adults, allowed to do things. As we can see, the end of society wasn't brought about by these things.
Coming to an event like this and seeing people who actually take complex pleasures out of the next generation of films that come after it is the biggest payback for the fact that we fought the campaign.
All of the careers that were born of this period shows you that though this idea that we were all going to become, incredibly fucked up because we watched some video nasties just wasn't true. It actually turned us into the people that we are today.
I was about 12 when I'd finished all my exams then, and our maths teacher, for whatever reason, couldn't be bothered to actually do anything, teach us anymore. So he got some films in and showed them to us toward the end of the term. And one of which, they're all kind of video nasties, and one of which was zombie flesh eaters.
Many years ago, we had the premiere of The Living and the Dead. I don't know who was here for that.
Red, White and Blue by Simon Rumley. Obviously, we did The Living and the Dead many years ago, and this is, again, it's a wonderful picture.
It's a slacker revenge movie set in Austin, Texas.
It's much more like a character-based kind of tragic drama with a lot of violence and intensity in it than it is a typical horror slasher film.
While it's not a traditional horror film, it's definitely an audience that that the film is geared for.
I call it sociopathic because it's someone who lives on the margins of society.
Not a bad guy, but he does bad things.
It's not like he's a complete maniac all the time, but he has the capacity to do extreme violence.
What was the best killing of the film?
Ooh. Probably got to be death by gaffer tape.
What are you two guys up to next?
I'll say something really inappropriate there.
I just finished a monster movie with Makad Brooks and Serinda Swan, and it's called Blood is Blood. Another movie called Free Runner with Tamer Hassan and Danny Dyer, who some of you might know. They were really fun to work with.
I saw The Dead today. I wanted to see Video Nasties, but my train was late.
The Dead is about an American mercenary who crash lands off the coast of Africa, and he has to get from one side of Africa to the other.
It's a big dichotomy between the black guy and the white guy coming together, forming a bond and trying to survive.
A journey movie or a road movie with zombies in it.
Ford Brothers ode to slow-moving zombies.
You guys work hard to get them slow.
We did actually, yeah. We really got slower. It doesn't matter how slow they are. At some point, you're going to rest and they're going to creep up and eat you.
We didn't want to do what other zombie movies did and have it stuck in one location where then the zombies are sort of barricading in. We wanted to take audiences on a journey, so they were travelling with it, so there was new locations to look at all of the time.
This film takes you on a journey in places you would otherwise never get to see.
Oh yeah, that's where I got malaria. Oh yeah, that's where I almost died.
He collapsed on set, started convulsing, and he had full-blown malaria.
And there were a bunch of villagers around that gathered around me, and they were going, that's malaria.
I was lying on my face in the dirt, and I was screaming, shoot this, this is real, but they never did.
It was on a drip for 2 weeks, and the doctors said, if he hadn't been treated, he'd have been dead within 3 days, possibly 2.
I thought, well, you know, at least you're getting a rest.
You must be so pleased, proud, and relieved to finally have it playing in Leicester Square or anywhere, yeah?
Relieved to get the fuck out there alive, just to be alive.
We ran out of water, we ran out of food, we were threatened, vehicles were impounded, we were arrested, we were mugged at knife point.
Sometimes having an encounter with snakes, you know, it was a bit scary. At some point I was losing it.
We were filming in situations in huts where there was the remains of dead relatives in pots.
We had a cannibal ride by on a bicycle and say he'd like to taste the white meat.
The guy that ate people who were dead, and as long as they were not too decomposed, very bizarre.
God, it was horrible.
What's your happiest memory from the shoot?
When I finally heard, "Cut, it's a wrap, everybody can go."
Gonna go and have a bloody great drink now, and then watch some films.
We're going to have the world premiere of some footage of The Walking Dead.
I watched the opening scene, which I won't spoil for you guys, but I laughed out loud and said, "Frank, are we going to be allowed to show this?" And he said, "Oh yeah, we got it covered." And it is. It's certainly not like anything I've seen before. My family aren't going to be watching it.
I cannot tell you how pleased I am that we have the next film, The Last Exorcism.
Don't expect a straight horror movie.
Whatever preconceived notions you have, just let them go.
It's basically Rec meets The Exorcist, or The Rexorcist, as I always call it.
I play a documentary filmmaker that was hired by Cotton Marcus, the Reverend, to document his last exorcism.
I've been performing exorcisms, but they've been sort of false exorcisms. So I want this film crew to follow me so I can blow the lid off of all the guys who are like taking money as charlatans. However, when we get to the Sweetser farm and we run into Nell Sweetser, played by Ashley Bell, rivetingly.
She might be possessed or completely insane. No one knows.
It's co-produced by one of Fright Fest's friends, who UK premiered every one of his films.
How many people here saw Cabin Fever? Yeah. How many people saw Hostel? Right. This movie's totally different than those.
I've been talking to Eli about, coming to Fright Fest ever since I've met him, which was on Cabin Fever.
I've always wanted to come to Fright Fest.
Eli and I go back years now. He's been very, very good to us. Very good to the festival.
Guilty as charged.
He is going to be very well received.
Because of his schedules and stuff, he could never actually join us.
So every time we've shown one of his films, we've had a video link. He's never been able to come.
This video that always starts out with an apology, like, "Hey, Fright Fest, I'm so sorry I can't," and I genuinely am sorry, because you guys know that I would be exactly here if I lived in London.
He's finally going to sample for himself firsthand the brilliant Fright Fest audience.
And I purposely have not watched the movie with audiences because I wanted to wait to have Fright Fest be like my definitive viewing experience.
I've been a huge horror fan my whole life, so it's such an honor to be a part of this festival.
It's exciting to be here in this environment with all these, passionate fans.
The great thing about horror fans is that, one, they come to the table ready and willing to suspend disbelief. But the other thing is that, they're horror fans, and so their standards are very high.
Audiences today are harder to please, I think, in a lot of ways. You have to be smarter about it.
I've always believed the scare is the star, and if you give people something smart and something to chew on, they'll respond.
I saw a midnight screening, and one girl at the end of the aisle, I heard yell, "Damn, that girl's crazy!"
Ashley Bell was the second girl that came in, and she just nailed it. She went up the walls. It was so scary to be in the room with her.
The creepiest thing that I found in the film was going to work on working with Ashley Bell, because I'd love to say that I'm a great actor, but the fact of the matter is, all I had to do was put on a linen suit and show up. When she clicks her head, that's her doing that stuff.
The night before the second exorcism scene, Daniel actually asked me if I had any ideas.
You never get asked that question. It's huge.
And she said, "Why don't I do this?" And she got up and she bent over backwards. And I didn't know she could do that.
Literally, if she went any farther, you would have snapped, right?
Patrick, who's playing Cotton, had never seen that before, so his reaction in the movie...
No, don't do that!
...is actually real.
That was actually one of the most fun parts of filming, was to get allowed the opportunity to be that physical.
It was all about the actors and allowing them to experiment and finding the emotional core to the scenes.
And I volunteered to break my fingers because I'm a method actress.
We opened at 20 million, which is bigger than the last Tom Cruise movie. It was bigger than Bridget Jones.
My nightmare is if I ever had to sit through Valentine's Day again. That was just one of the scariest experiences of my life.
As a producer, I just feel so proud. You feel like a proud parent.
The Annabelle thing came from the fact that I clearly could talk really fast and go.
When he came in, I asked him to improvise a sermon for me. And he did this 8-minute immaculate sermon, but it was too long, so I asked him, can we do it again half the time. And he, instead of cutting out content, would just speed up and talk twice as fast.
Daniel suggested, wouldn't it be great if Cotton can get them all frothed up, and you can sneak in anything. Like it's a dare. So we come up with a recipe.
Maybe you can do a live version of it. Yeah.
Can I get a hallelujah? Can I get an amen? Can I get a hallelujah and an amen? Can I say a praise Jesus? You think that Jesus is going to go ahead and hiss he do? He's going to hail you. He's going to take all the devil's spirits and send them away from you? Yes or no? Yes, praise God. Now you take the 2 bananas, you put them in the bed, you spread them with the sugar, then you put them down at 400 degrees, you're going to have banana bread. You know that? Wow, that's the best I can do.
Fright Fest 2010 is over. Thanks for joining us as we caught up with some brilliant horror icons, old and new. We'll be back with you again in 2011 when there's one thing for certain, it'll be bigger, better and scarier than ever before. Bye!